Good morning, everyone. In the last session, we are trying to work with our Spring Boot with the security we identified. In the last class, we discussed about the integration part. So let's see how we are going to connect with those examples one more time. Basically, we created one application called Reading List application, and here what we are doing here. So we are trying to store this particular user information here. We are trying to store the user information. So how we are trying to store the user information here? Basically, here with help of this particular security, we are connecting with our database. And now you can see, observe the application is started. We'll go for the local host here. So which is expecting username and password. So what is a username here? So username is username and password also be given as a password. And I'm trying to log in into the application. So once we log in into this particular application, we are able to see this information here. And if we observe carefully, so these are the books information we are having in our database. So based on this particular application, we are loading the data from the database. Now you can see now what you are understanding here. So we are having the reader information as well as book information. So reader information is providing the information like this. So whether the particular reader able to access their application or not. Getting the point. So based on the reader we are able to access or not, with help of the username and password, we are trying to connect with our application here. Now once the user able to log in into the application, we're trying to load the object like the particular books related information here. Books related information. So this is all about the simple example we implemented here. Now we'll try to understand what is our table we are trying to access here. This is the table called hb.book here. Okay, so we'll try to find out this particular book information. Now you can see we are having author Java, the description we are having core. So ISBN, this is the book ISBN here, reader 1, and the title we are having, so full stack here. Now you can see all the information we are having or not. So this is the title we are having, author and book here, getting the point. So this is all about the description of the particular book here, getting the point. So now if you want to add anything here, now you can add here. So Java book here, so James here, and something ISBN I want to give. So different ISBN, reader 2, getting the point. So description here, Java books description, getting the point. Now if I'm trying to click on this particular submit button, so whatever the newly added record, we are able to see on top of this particular added book form here, getting the point. So this is we implemented in the previous example, but what we need to focus here, so with help of this particular security, how we are trying to connect with our application here. So to connect with our application, what we implemented here we implemented, this is the main class here. So this is our Spring Security configuration is our main class, and if we are giving the permission to these two URLs, login and register, and after this, so I'm trying to make any request. So other than this particular two requests here, I'm trying to authenticate here. So we need to show this particular form login. So where this particular login is available, so whenever we click on this particular login URL, we'll try to provide the login.html page here, right? And so it will move on to so once we click on this particular submit button, it will go for the success URL here, right? And we are having authentication manager. So based on this particular authentication manager, we'll try to connect with our application here. Now you can focus here with help of this particular user detail service and password encoder. Now what we are doing is we are trying to converting the particular password into decode format and encode format here, right? So this is all about the simple application we implemented in the last example. Now today we'll try to focus with one API. So like in the previous example, so reading list resource here. Reading list resource here. Now what we implemented, directly we can go for the postman related example. Here, so postman extension for Chrome here. Here we are having this particular extension I'm trying to work here. Now observe, with the help of this particular postman extension, so we'll try to connect our application here. So what is the URL we are having here? http colon double slash localhost here 8080. I want to give only slash here. So if I'm trying to send here, now what we are understanding here? Here we are trying to returning. So username password, the particular information we are getting here. Now we need to see. Okay, so basically we are implementing with the controller class here. So because of this, it's trying to return HTML page. So what is this particular HTML page is contain? Login information. Now you can see here we are having username and password, some remember functionality and register or submit button. Getting the point. So this information we are getting from which HTML page here. So this is the particular HTML page we are having something called register list here. So reading list here. Getting the point. Now what we need to understand here, if I want to connect with the postman, now what we can do? So first we need to change here the controller class to the REST controller, or we can provide the response body. So in this case, now what I will do, I want to like use the same code here what we so far used here, but I want to connect with a different API here, like so Jersey here. So with the help of this particular Jersey, how we can connect with our application using REST APIs here. Okay. Now, so to connect with a Jersey related example, first what we need here, we need to add one starter here. So what is a starter we need to add here? So something called so Jersey here. Now you can see we are having one Jersey starter here. So we need to connect to click on next here and click on pom.xml, finish. So once you finish here, now what we are going to identify here? So the particular Jersey related starters are going to download into the our application here. So once this particular starters are downloaded, now what we can understand here, we'll try to work with one more resource class here. So here we are connecting reading list resource, and here we'll go for the so one more class here, book resource. So book resource I want to create. So this particular book resource also will contain the same information. So what are the information we implemented? So this is the same information I'm going to use. Only the difference here. Only the difference here. Now you can see here we are going to work with and so we don't want to work with reading list repository. Okay, so we'll keep as it is here. And now REST controller. I want to connect with our application REST controller. Getting the point. So this is all about the REST controller we are implementing here. And inside this particular REST controller, now what are the information we are going to write here? Now you can see. So to work with Jersey, we don't need any REST controller. We can go for the component as well. and path here. Now you can see the path annotation is coming from the, so this is the javax.ws.rs. javax.ws.rs here. So this is the name of the package here. Getting the point. So the rest services here we are going to implement here and path here. So path is also is going to work with a request mapping annotation. So how we implement it in our Spring MVC, because here we are not working with the Spring MVC here. So this is the different API with help of the Jersey. We're implementing the REST API related example here. So now what I'm doing here I want to work with books here. So with help of this particular books here, we'll try to work on the some example here. Observe carefully here. And after books here, if I'm going to click on this particular slash here, now what we are expecting here we are going to return the list of books here. Getting the point. So list of books I am trying to load here. To return, now what we can do, simply we can go for this particular list of books here. Here I want to specify these are the list of books here. Okay. Now what we will do, so we don't want to work with this particular model section, and instead of working with this particular request mapping, now what we can do, at the rate different annotation called get annotation. The get is also coming from the where here. Now you can see, so these are the two annotations we are using so far, and these two are coming from the our so Jersey. Getting the point. So these are coming from the Jersey. Now if you want to understand here, if I'm going to click on path here, now it is opening. Now you can see the location where exactly it is available. Now you can see, so jakatra.ws.rs. So which is coming from the where here. So as of now, this particular Jakatra we did not add it. To understand more about this particular Jakatra, now what we can do, so go to this particular dependency hierarchy. So this is the web starter and data JPA. So time leaf here, security. So now you can see this is the starter we added. Getting the point. So this is the starter we added inside this particular application. So here now we need to focus on to the which starter we are trying to use here. Something called, so this is the Jakatra WS.rs API. Now you can see Jakatra WS.rs API here. Getting the point. So which is coming from the where inside this particular Jersey. Inside this particular Jersey starter here. Okay. So back to here. Now what we can do inside this particular book resource here. Okay. Now we are trying to work with the get mapping here. So after this, now what I want to write here, if I'm going to click this particular slash here, it will work on this particular. Okay, so we don't want to use, we'll keep as it is this particular get here, and here we need to work on the post here. So to work on this particular post here, now what we can do, simply so post annotation. Getting the point. So we can provide the post annotation here. So it will try to return this particular book, and here I want to get response here. So instead of string here, now what I will do, so I want to go for the response here. Here, this is the response class we need to use. And inside this particular response class, now what I need to specify. So this is the response class we are having. With the help of this particular response here, now I want to provide the different what we can call it as a status code. And here I want to work as a URI slash here and book dot we can provide the reader here. So based on this particular reader, we're trying to load the object here. So this is the response I want to provide here. Slash is going to appended with the particular reader name here. And so this is I'm created here. So this particular response, how it is going to work. So we'll try to identify here. And after this particular post here, I want to provide producer and consumers here. So why we need to provide here this particular producer and consumers. So basically here we are trying to providing what kind of data we are going to provide. So it's nothing but what kind of media type we are trying to providing here. So it's nothing but which input we are giving and which output we are trying to take. So here we are trying to providing something called application slash JSON format. So for this particular producers also will work on the same. Getting the point. So this is we created the particular login register. We are not going to work on this particular 3 URLs. So now, so far what we implemented here, we are trying to add one book here. We are trying to load the particular remaining books here. Okay, let's see how we can work on this particular REST related example here. Okay, now what I will do, I will try to run this particular application. So first we will see what kind of exceptions we are going to get. So application is started. Now what we need to identify here, I need to click on this particular books here. After I click on this particular book, I want to click on slash here. Okay. So even though if you are trying to give, we are trying to load this particular. Okay. Okay. So basically this is the security, the particular page we are loading here. But now we'll try to comment out our security related starter here because, sorry, not our starter. Okay. So we are getting lot of errors here. So just for understanding, I want to comment out here. Okay. So we'll try to comment in all the places wherever we are trying to use, because here from this particular postman, again we need to provide the username and password here. Because of this, now what we can do, we can comment out the security related section of code here. We'll try to enable later. So just I want to provide the information how we can work on the security without this so we can work on this particular jersey related information with help of this particular Spring Boot here. Now I want to comment out all the section of code here. And this is the final one we can comment out. Okay. So I commented the security related configuration code here. Now you want to run this particular application one more time. So now you can see, so it will try to run this application. Application is started. This is the port and it is the time taken to start our application. Now what I'm trying to write here, again I'm trying to click on the request here. So now what you are understanding here, so this particular 404, we are getting a 404 error. So why we are getting this particular 404 error? Basically, so we did not have the request here. We don't have this particular request here. So now if you observe, where we are providing books here. But now what we need to provide here, what we need to provide here, we need to add with the get we implemented here. And we'll go for this particular producers as well. And here I want to, so what is the error we are getting here? Attribute value is undefined. Okay, if it is undefined, so it has to return the objects here. No, 404 we are getting. So let me restart one more time here. Okay. Mm, Here I want to provide the path here. Maybe the path is not identifying here. Now what we can do, so here I want to give slash here. Okay. So what happened? Okay, request is coming to your application. Let me. Okay. So now what we can do, we'll try to add one configuration class here. So where I'm trying to add here inside this particular resource only, I'm going to add one configuration. The class here jersey config, which is implements from the resource config. Mm, Resource config or resource config. Yes. So this we need to add. After adding here, basically we are going to have the particular constructor. So register. I want to add with the register class here. The register class, what is the main class we are trying to work here? Something called book resource. We'll try with help of this particular configuration. So we identified when we're trying to work with Spring with REST template here. So whatever the request mapping annotation we implemented, successfully we connected to our application and we perform the code operations here. But here, whenever I'm trying to work with Jersey related here, it is not connecting, but to the code, whatever the code we implemented, so the functionality like the APIs, the request APIs are we already available in our particular application. Now I'm trying to send and request here. So again, I'm getting 404 here. What happening here? So here we are getting warning here. The sub resource method reader book in the com dot resource contain empty path. What is it is contained here? Empty path annotation. Okay. So where we are adding empty path annotation? Where is our book reader? Now you can see I want to give here all books here. I'm trying to send the request here. Now observe here how many books we are having. In the database we are trying to load all the books here. So far what you identified here, if I'm not adding this particular jersey configuration here, getting the point, if I'm not adding this particular jersey configuration, so we're not getting the request to the our application here. So far, like whatever the implementation could be added, but even though the request is not received. Now what you are understanding is, whenever we are trying to work with jersey, now what we need, first we need to add what exactly the resource, like what exactly the API classes we implement here. The particular class information we provide. So we need to register those request API classes here. So something in our example, book resource. So this is the book resource we implemented here. Now another one, with help of this particular get method, we are able to load all the objects information, and we are seeing inside this particular postman. Getting the point. Now what I need to write here, I want to check with one more here, something called add to books method. So how we can do with the post mapping. With help of this particular post mapping, we can work on this particular method here. So to work on this particular method, now what I need to write here, we need to work with one post API. So let me copy. So click on post here, and we need a body. I want to work with JSON format here, and how we identified here. So let me copy one object here. So I'm pasting here. What is a reader we are having here? Something called so Jersey here. And here Jersey title. And we need to provide the ISBN. Something different number I'm giving. Getting the point. So this is the new record we are trying to insert it into like we are trying to insert into our database. So I'm trying to click on send button here. Now what you are understanding here. Now you can see, so 201 we are getting. So 201 in the sense here, we are getting successful response. Now what we need to understand here we are trying to update here. Why we are updating here? So ID we are passing here. ID we are passing here. Because of this particular ID, we are trying to update the record here. Okay, now what we can do, we'll go for the database. I'm trying to run this particular application. Now observe with help of ID2, so all the information, whatever the information we provided here, from this particular postman, we are able to getting the point. So we are able to save the data into the database here. Save the data into the database here. Getting the point. So this is the way we can work with the post mapping here, and we identify get mapping. Now we identify the post mapping here. Now what we need to understand so another two mapping examples here. So another two mapping example here. Here put method. So we need to work on the put method here. To work on this particular put method, now what we can do? So we need to update this particular book here. Update book here. But here, now what I will do? I will provide same information. So update book. And inside this particular update book, so we'll try to work on the, because we did not create any service method here. So directly, now what we identified here directly, so we connected with our save method. Getting the point. So directly we connected with the save method. Based on this particular ID, now what we need to understand here, we are going to update this particular record here. And return new response here. So whenever we are trying to update here, I don't want to return here any content here. So response dot no content. So directly build here. We're not returning any no content here. And now what we can do, so this is the another annotation I'm going to work with here. Something called put annotation. And so we are going to expecting here consumer here. Consumer. Right? Now observe, now what I need to write here, basically, so I want to use the different path here. The path here, update book here. The path what I'm using here, update book here. So with the help of this particular update book here, now what we are trying to do here, we are trying to update the particular book information here. So let me run this particular application, and meanwhile I will copy this particular URL and we'll go to the Postman here. So update book. Right, and here we can go for this particular put here. So JSON format I want to give. All the information I want to provide as a update here. So I don't want to change this particular ID. If I change here, what happens internally? So the object is going to insert it. It will not update it here. Getting the point. So this is the second record I'm trying to update here. But now you can see I will try to clear this particular console. So if anything happens here, we can identify in our console here. So here we are getting 204. So 204, what we provided here? No content here. The server successfully processed here, but not retaining any content here. Getting the point. So we are not retaining any content here. Getting the point. So now you can see all the 200 related, so the successful response we are getting here. If you want to understand here, now you can see here we are getting the select record and update record here. Now what we can do, we'll go for the database and we'll try to understand the object information. Now observe all the records are ending with update here. So far we've appended with update here, but how we are connecting here? With the help of this particular put method, we can update the record here. But same thing, if I'm going to send from the post here, because post here we don't have any the particular path here. The particular path we don't have. So again, it will give an a 404. 404. Now you can see the status is providing 404 here. So this is all about the put method. Now finally, now what we can do here, we'll try to work on the delete here. We'll try to work on the delete here. So first now what we can do, so with help of this particular URL, I want to identify. So entire delete by ID.
Hello.
Yes.
Can I have query?
Yeah, you can.
So whatever your book content we are going to update, so can we do in the like a resource? So we'll get the ID from the resource. I will apply the setter and then finally have to pass the book object into save. That is possible.
One second. So can you repeat again in the resource plus what you are trying to add?
Whatever records you are going to update, just I am expecting we will get the ID from that book, and accordingly I have to be called the setter, and then have to be save the book object. From here I want to save, not from the JSON. Whatever the JSON, it doesn't matter. I will just wanted to update in the from the resource on the basis of ID.
Okay. So instead of loading from here, you want to you are going to provide ID, or like how we are going to find?
Yeah, whatever the postman JSON is coming, we will get the ID in the update book, and on the behalf of we will apply the setters and will finally pass the book object into save method. Is it possible?
One second. So basically, you are trying to work with this particular ID. Now, what you will do?
Yeah.
So I got ID here.
No. Yeah, I got ID. Whatever the resource I wanted to update on the basis, I will call the setters of books. What the field I need to be update, and then finally I have to save the book object, right?
No, basically, based on ID, you are going to get this particular ID. But how we are going to get entire book object here?
No, the book object is coming as the same. That whatever JSON is coming, that will map to the as a book entity, and we will get the ID from the book entity here, and whatever the contents of books coming will pass in the setter.
Why we need to pass here? Because the object we are getting, right? Again, why we need to pass into the setters here?
I'm just asking, is it possible or not?
So basically here, if you want to pass here, what we need to write here, again we need to create one more book here.
Yes.
So why we need to create one more book here? We can pass, there is no restrictions here, we can pass. So the book one we can pass to this particular save method. But here, you are creating one more object here.
Okay. Okay, I understand.
Okay.
Go ahead. Thanks.
So back to here, the final one, what we need to understand here, we can go for the delete here. So to work on this particular delete, now what we need to understand here, so we are having, so delete annotation here. And I don't want to return anything here. So simply I want to return response here. So if you observe carefully, I'm not returning any objects here, just I'm trying to return. So status codes here. Getting the point. So based on the status code here, now what we can do, we can perform the other operations here. So if we want to work with after deleting any object here, right? Now observe, so delete book. Basically here, now what we need to pass here, entire object we need to pass here. Because this particular reading list repository is not expecting ID here. So if you see delete here, the parameter which is expecting book entity, or if you want to call the book call, so without specifying the particular condition, we can delete all the objects here. But now you can see delete by IDs here. So now you can provide here list of all IDs here. How many objects we want to delete, we can provide the IDs here. And so these are the batch related example. So delete by ID. Here we are having delete by ID. Now here we can provide the the current objectives. So now what we will do, we'll copy this particular object information inside this particular method called delete book here. Now what we need to specify here we need to work on the ID here. ID. Okay, so how we can pass this particular ID? Getting the point. So here we need to pass this particular ID. So to add this particular ID, first what we can do, first we need to work on the delete annotation, so which is coming from the our Jersey, and another one we need to work on the path here. So inside this particular path here, now what I want to provide, ID I want to provide. So this particular ID which is expecting as a path param ID. So whatever the expression ID we provided here, we need to provide inside this particular annotation here. Okay, now the ID will come as this particular ID, and we are trying to delete this particular record. We'll see. So what is the information we are getting? Basically, it is giving an error. First, we'll undo this particular error. So response here. Now what we can do, if this particular object is deleted successfully, I want to return. Okay. Getting the point. I want to return OK. So this is the one more response code, the status code we are trying to return here. We'll understand here what is the status code we are going to get here. Okay, now observe, we'll try to start our application one more time here. Application is started. So I want to delete the second record here. Getting the point. I want to delete the second record here. So as of now, we don't have any records here. We'll copy this and we'll go for this particular delete. After book, I want to add as a 2 here. After book, I want to provide the particular 2. So is here, this particular 2 is going to work as a ID of the particular object here. So let me send a request here. Now what you are understanding here, now you can see here, the status code we are getting OK here. The status code we are getting OK. Now what you are understanding here, so the 200 is providing successful information. Now what we need to understand here, so the SQL here. So delete from the particular book where ID here. So based on this particular ID, the book is deleted. Now what we need to understand here, we'll go for the database and now we'll run the same SQL query here. Observe, the second record is available right now. Now if I'm going to run this particular query, the second record is not available. Now what you are understanding here, so based on this particular delete mapping here, we are trying to delete the particular object which is available in our database here. But what is the difference we are identifying here? When we are trying to work with Spring or Spring Boot here, now what we need to add here, we need to work with REST controller or controller with request body and response body here. But if we observe carefully, when we are trying to work with Jersey related example here, so here we are making as a simple component here. So what exactly the component will work here? So it will try to create an object of this particular book resource here. So just the creation of this particular object here, we are creating the component here, and we are having path here. Basically, this particular path will provide the class level path here. Now, if you observe any request here, whatever the request so far we used here, all are appending with the books here. Getting the point. So all are appending with the books here. So this is nothing but the particular class level path here. So when we are having multiple resource classes, here, how we can recognize here? So based on this particular API, so which class API is calling here with help of the class level path here, we can easily understand. For example, if I want to connect with a reading list resource, now what we can do? We can change this particular path. Instead of book here, we can go for the reading list or reader something. The unique name we can provide, so that based on the particular path, we can directly move on to the resource classes. We can identify so which API is giving exceptions or something here. Getting the point? So this is all about the path annotation is going to provide the so differentiation between the multiple classes. So same thing which we can apply, like we are going to get the same information from the our request mapping, but the request mapping is implemented in the Spring MVC. So this is the third API we are going to connecting here. So Jersey is a basically the different API. With help of the different API also we are connecting. Why I'm trying to providing this example here, basically some of the application, so we are going to work with Jersey related APIs here, right? Now we identify the post annotation, get annotation. So the same thing which we implemented in the previous example, request mapping, get annotation, like request mapping get and request mapping post here. Getting the point. So the same purpose of this particular annotations here. And producers and consumers. So what is the difference here? Basically, when we are trying to give an input here, what exactly the input format is. So what kind of the format we are trying to provide here. So these two annotations is going to provide the information here. So producer, it will try to return the response, and consumer, which is trying to so accept the particular type of the object here, right? So these are the like annotations we implemented. Any questions regarding this particular Jersey example here? Okay. So if we don't have anything here, now what we will do? So basically, idempotent method is nothing but here how many times we are going to send in a request here instead of updating, getting the point, instead of updating the particular data, it will try to return the all the information. So for example, in our example, get here. So this particular get here, how many times you are trying to send this particular method? Where is the get? Now you can see, so it's trying to return the all the object information here. So how many times you are trying to send here? Only the two records we are getting here. Getting the point. So internally it is not updating here. So basically, if the data is not updating here, so those methods we are going to call it as a idempotent methods here. So in our example, get. So now you can see how many select records we are having here. How many select records we are having here? Because so how many times we are sending a request here? So for each time we are going to generate the one select query here. Each time we are trying to generate the select query here. Okay. So any other questions? Okay. So basically, so as I provided here, so Spring Boot is introducing one functionality is nothing but like how your application is working. So how we are going to identify with help of this particular starter call accuter here. So we need to identify so what exactly the information is available inside this particular accuter here. So to like to identify the functionality, now what we can do here, we need to add this particular accuter here. Spring Boot accuter. Now you can see, so this particular accuter I'm going to add in our pom.xml here. Once we add this particular pom.xml, now I'm going to provide some information. So what are the basic information we are going to get? If I want to get all the information, what are the basic configuration we need to provide? Basically, so this particular Spring Boot accuter here, what it try to provide the information? It will try to give the production ready features here. Getting the point. So it will try to provide some of the additional features. So the features call, it will try to provide the production ready features. Like in the production environment, if I want to find out the application behavior here, now what we can do? So simply we can add this particular Okay, the application is already running here. So if I want to get any the production features here, we are going to work on this particular Acute starter, and it will try to give the application information here. Okay, so it is started here. Okay. So what we need to understand here. So once we add this particular Acute, you can go for the AC. Okay. So the URL is not identifying here. Um, no. Now what we will do, we'll go for this particular resource application.properties here. And here, management. We'll go for I want to enable all the particular endpoints here. Management dot basic path endpoint to metric. Where is our the particular include? I want to include all here. So we'll see, we'll try to run with one more time here. Basically, what we are trying to add here, we are trying to enable all the endpoints here. We want to enable all the endpoints here so that we can understand the application functionality, how it is working here. Okay. So now application is started here. I want to click on the request one more time here. This time also it's not coming. Okay. Basically, info is not coming. Okay. So now let me find out so management dot. We'll try with beans here. No. Sorry. What happened? Endpoint beans are enabled. True. No. Let me find out something we are missing in the configuration. management dot info exos include all. Hmm. So we are not working with the security. Basically, it has to return. Yeah. No. Okay. So we'll find out our application here. So what is the request given? We'll go for the reading list. The controller value reader login login get only. Okay. So we'll identify maybe it is downloaded or not. Where is the Springboard? Okay. So it is already available here. Why it is not coming? So it is downloaded. So whenever we are adding here, by default, it enable so 3 endpoints here. So those 3 endpoints also we're not getting here. Okay, we'll try to build our application. So we'll see why we are getting why we are not getting those endpoints here. Basically, we need to get the particular endpoints called health and information here. So these are the default endpoints here. So we can easily identify the health about the application and so info about the application here. The web starter. So okay. Basically, in the Accuter, we don't have any security related information here. Only Spring Boot related information we are having here. No. Okay. So we are not getting the request here. Okay. So we'll identify with help of this particular book here. No. What we are missing. Okay, let me create a package if I'm going to create again. Okay, so we'll find out with another application here. So we'll see how it's going to work here. Springboard. Okay, so along with Akita, we need to add web. So let me try with another application here. So whether we are able to run the simple example or not. Okay, application is started. Right. So writable page we are getting. Now observe. So whenever I'm trying to add this particular accuter here, now what are the information we are getting here? So this is providing the particular link here. First one, the default link we are having. And so here it is providing health section. And another one, here we can provide the different paths here. Getting the point. So this is the default information we are going to get. So for example, if I want to copy this particular URL here, so status up and running here. The particular application is health up and running, right? And if I'm going to change to the info, so info we don't have here. To get info, now what we can do? Okay, info is not available. So we'll check with the beans related information. Sorry. So far, we don't have any beans here. To connect with this particular beans here, now what I need to write here? Endpoint. So I need to include all endpoints here. Now observe, if I'm going to refresh this, so these are the beans here. Getting the point. So these are the beans are created in our application here. So what are the beans which created? Now you can see what is the name of the our class here. Here, now you can identify here the scope we are having, singleton scope here. The type here, this is the object type we are having, getting the point. And this particular class is having some dependencies here. What are the dependencies we are having here? Now you can see how many objects are created internally. These are the dependencies here. Getting the point. Same way, we can identify, so these many objects are created in our current example. Getting the point. Now, if I want to work with this particular, all the information, now what we can do, so catch is here. So this is all about the particular bean section. Now what I want to identify here, so instead of beans here, now what we can do, cache is here. So cache manager we don't have here, right? So we can go for the environment here. So these are the environment related information. Now what you are understanding here, now you can see all are the status related information here. So active profile we are having, like we don't have any active profiles here. So these are the server port and the default port we are using. So 8080, getting the point. So this particular properties, if I'm trying to modify in our application properties, we can see all the information here. We can see all the information here and system properties we are loading here. And so these are the some jars here. So Spring Starter, Web Starter jar here. And so Jackson related, so Tomcat related here. So Web MVC, what are the jars we added here? So these are the jar section we are having here. This is providing the information regarding our environment here. Environment information here. Getting the point. Now, if I want to work with the metrics here. So these are the metric related information here. So it's providing so JVM related information here. Getting the point. So how much the particular JVM is taking the memory, how the JVM is working internally. So these are the all the information we are going to get as a JSON format here. All the information we are going to get as a JSON format here. So here we will have a different endpoints here. Getting the point. We'll have a different endpoints. So based on this particular different endpoints here, now we can understand the information about the application use. Getting the point. So this is the one advantage we identified in the Spring Boot here. So they implemented one starter called Acuter. It will try to provide the application related information. So basically, in the current example, so it's trying to overriding this particular reading list here. So if we can work on we can work with the security and we can go for the same behavior here. Now what I want to write here, so I want to enable all the information here. We'll identify why this particular so application is not working. Okay. Now, okay. Now what happened here? Reader dot password. Okay. So all the classes I'm trying to roll back here. and security configure. So security service here. Okay. So maybe we roll back all the services here. Now what I will do, so we'll build our application. Okay, application is started. If I'm going to refresh this, so login page cannot find. Okay, if the login page cannot find here, maybe here we missed something. Anything we are missing here? Application, reading list, repository. Okay. We are having login.html here. Okay. Application started and we are getting is moving into the login page. Anything we commented out? Okay. Jersey static and reading list. Reading list repository. Okay. So everything we enable all the information here. So let me run with the debug here. What happened? So the request is not coming. Okay. Reading list repository, reading list resource. No. Okay. So what we will do, we'll try to disable this particular. So Qt, we'll see if this is an issue. We'll add a security information here. No. So something is security. Let's see any exception we are getting. Only one warning here. Will secure any request to swing security. Web asynchronous security. Engine. Session management and filter security interceptor. Okay. Maybe. Sorry. 8080 only, right? Login. We're having this particular login page here. Any name we change here? Login, we're having login only. Controller, request mapping, login, register, success. Okay, all the classes are enabled. Mm, maybe. Okay, so I will update you. I'm not sure like everything we provided, so proper information here, but still the class is not identifying here. So with the help of this particular clean, we'll try to install one more time here. Okay, anything we are missing in the pom.xml? Only S2 database, right? So 8080. No. Okay. So we are not seeing the request here. We'll try to work with this. Information security, session management. No. Okay, so I will work on this issue. Basically, we are not getting an exception, but still, so this particular page is not loading here. So why this particular page is not loading? I will try to provide the information. So maybe it's going to take some time here. If we find out any exception, so we can easily see so what we are missing and what are the information we can add here. But here now you can see all the log information we are having only. So the information related info we are getting it, but we need to identify why we are getting 404 error. So what exactly we are missing here. But if you see all the information we commented out, we enable all the section of code, but still it is not working here. Okay, so tomorrow we'll update you recording this section of code, and tomorrow we'll try to continue with like a microservices example here. So far, what we discuss here, these are the Spring Boot related example, and from tomorrow onwards, we'll work on the microservices example, how we can integrate with Spring Boot with the microservices, and what are the advantages we are having here, and why the microservices are introduced here. Okay. So, any questions regarding our today's session? Okay. So, if we don't have anything, we'll continue tomorrow.